I guess people don't watch the videos. They're just picking and choosing. The last video, nobody has ever heard Mark say about his first boyfriend, JD. All right. There's other stuff in there that people have missed out. Mark paying 5 bags of coffee, grabbing the cocoa butter lotion. There was no guards at that time when that filming was going on. You see everybody smoking and drinking Jubilee. Everybody there is having a good time. Jonathan Schwartz said, no, there was no prison guards at that time. There was no prison guards. That would have cramped up our style. You see them having a good time. You see Mark walking with the boy. That ain't no different than what they got going on in them pageants. Ain't no different. It just paints a vivid picture of what's going on, and people are like, "Oh, what is that?" Well, it's just you're so ignorant that your mind can't pay attention to what new unedited footage is. Stop being so simple-minded and pay attention to the video. You might have to rewind it 1, 2, 3, 4 times to grasp the video. Pay attention. Pay attention. On this next video I edited out certain parts. And that's for respect to the David Mendenhall that has been passed away, and also for children wise. I edited all those parts out. So let's get into it. Once again, this is the reaction video turned out documentary. Unseen footage.
Full of drug, prostitution, murders. Basically just the straight ghetto. My hood, Crenshaw Mafia. You know what I'm saying? Basically what it said, go around. Meaning bloods make the world go round, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I love blood with all my heart. I joined at a young age. Um, it was more so like a family to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't grow up with a father or uncles or nothing like that. No father figure. So I looked up to the Bloods as like role model.
He didn't like our lifestyle. He wasn't accustomed to going by rules. When he's not in grown fellas, I guess he begun to be part of the crowd. Doing just illegal stuff.
My case is really simple. I shot a guy in the projects. He was the opposite gang member. I got
what I've never dealt with gangs, so I was blind about all that. There was no man in the house for him growing up, so he was around a bunch of ladies. Mother signed him off to his great grandmother, and she had control of him. That boy never, not one weekend went by that he came stay with me. That his great grandmama didn't call my house as soon as we got him to the house, and all kind of weird complaints and stuff. He needed to be back home. I had to actually always like they thought maybe somebody was gonna take him or something from him. It never was like that. And once he got up 12, 13, then she wants to go and call me. Want me to chastise the child or something. At that age, I just it would have been worse, I think, with me and him than it is now. If I had tried that, the areas that he stayed in, all of them was bad. And with the guidance that he had, the parental guidance that he had, there was nothing left for him to choose going out in the street. We never denied him nothing. I offered him a bed in my house and food to eat, and he made that choice.
It's prison. The clock got 2 arrows pointing to 10. Twice, meaning 20 years what I got. I've been betrayed so much by people who I thought loved me as far as dealing with women. The first time fuck some ass was in Tendon at Limestone. I knew he was a boy, but what caught my interest because he lifted weights, you know. And at that time, I was often working out real heavy. He promised me, he said, man, I ain't gonna bring it to you. If you don't want to fuck with another man, I ain't gonna pressure you to. So one night we was in the cell. We just had a t-shirt and some boxer shorts on. I didn't try to avoid the situation. I brought it to him. I cracked him for his ass. After that, I went and took a shower, cleaned myself up and everything. And I felt guilty. I felt bad. I felt like I had just committed the ultimate sin. You know, I got back from him for a while because I had started having feelings that I didn't think were right. I started caring about this motherfucker. I mean, you know, laying up in my bed thinking about him. I might be on the way pile thinking about him. You know what I'm saying? I might see him talking to another dude and I become angry on the inside. It was like jealousy or I don't know what it was. I don't want to say love, you know what I'm saying? But it just something I couldn't explain. And I transfer. I go to another prison. I never seen him again.
Well, the first man I was with really, really messed my head up there for a while. I've had knives pulled on me. Uh, at that time, I was really more scared because this individual, more or less, he was, I can't think of the word for it. Anyway, he was very dominant, very controlling. I couldn't talk to nobody, couldn't go anywhere without either him being there or something said about it. Anyway, he brought it to me. I cried. I definitely cried. There's many nights I remember walking back to my dorm after they cleared the count. And I'd cry on the way, you know, asking myself, how would I get into this? You know, and sometimes I'd ask God, how could this happen? Because it's something at the time I didn't understand at all.
And I believe that today that we have to ask God to help our brother David Mendenhall, who has been in trouble. How many years has he served?
It's going on 6 years now.
Oh, 6 years. Maybe, we don't know, we don't judge.
Didn't
God,
do
we're
it.
not to say whether he did or whether he did not.
He
The
didn't do
Lord,
it on
6
purpose.
years, God, ought to be long enough.
Jesus.
God, 6 years, Lord, ought to be enough time.
They moved in here and before the baby came, and they had it furnished nice, and they had everything the baby could possibly want. The church now gave him a beautiful shower, and everything seemed to be going great, but he would just work to death. And young, he was only 18. We believe in God and protection, and we prayed much and had churches, everyone praying for him, and always they'd pray for him at church. If a baby would cry at church, start to cry. Well, she'd hear David and hand her over to him. When he gets up, well, he picked the baby up and he got up. I guess he with his back turned to the wall and only about a foot space between them. See, we had this this bed sitting down inside of water bed, big frame, and he gets up on the back side and not very much space between him and the wall there. And I guess he bumped it. He says, "Grandmother, he hardly knew what happened because he was half awake and all. But he bumped himself, kind of lost his balance. He threw the baby back on the bed. And she had thrown the covers back. When he got up, he threw them back, and it landed on the covers and just rolled right on off. And when he saw what was happening, he's fast. He grabbed for the baby and got it with a little leg, but it had already, by that time, it was far enough down and hit that frame was sitting down on, but all of it was on the floor at the time, and hit his little head. And it had such a beautiful head of dark hair, and you couldn't see anything was wrong with it. It just had a little bruise on the cheek, was the only sign you could see where it was hurt. They brought it against him as child abuse and murder. First manslaughter, and then they called it murder.
I didn't have enough years and time and knowledge under my belt to be a father and be really supportive and foresee things coming and know what to do about it to shape a young person's life, to really be the pillar that I should have been.
Now my son is 18 and married with a baby on the way. Half asleep, too tired to think an accident occurred. Now the baby's dead and the charges are red. Murder in the first degree. Now my son's in prison, wish I could set him free.
Well, when you're first coming in, that's what it makes you feel like. It makes you feel like that your life's on the line. That's the kind of positions they put you in. All those kind of threats come. I've been told that they murdered in Limestone Penitentiary. So I've had my life threatened a few times.
David Jr. was real close to the breaking point. At one time, he called me, and he was nearly to a nervous breakdown, and he wasn't able to eat and keep it on his stomach. And he'd had a homosexuals there and so forth. And he was afraid to go to the authorities because they had threatened him, and he didn't know what to do. So he called me, and I called a lieutenant immediately and then moved David to a cell to himself. He didn't have a cell. He had to be out in the public with everybody. But they put him in a cell to protect him like that. And they moved him from that dorm to another place. So David was recuperated and was much happier.
I hope that those kinds of experiences, being pimped out and the homosexual activity and such as that he's had to deal with in there, I hope that's something that when he gets out, he can put behind him, not have to talk about it or bring it up and just, let it die in his past and, kind of start fresh from day one when he gets out and create a new respectable life,
Because, I never had a father, you know what I'm saying? But I always wanted a father. I had a father, you know what I'm saying? But I always wanted a father. I like turning guys out. As far as being turned out already, especially by family members, I kind of felt sympathy for him.
I was probably about 6.
Want to be there for him, you know what I'm saying? Especially if they were a weaker guy in prison. You know, guys run over him and abuse him and dog him out. So it made me want to step up, you know what I'm saying, and be like a shield for him, you know.
They might test you with horse playing, wrestling, you know what I'm saying? They might test you with little games like, just playing games like, let me feel on, they might say something like, let me feel on your pussy or whatever and see how he respond to it, you know what I'm saying? And they might try it anyway, do it and see what he do, you know what I'm saying, once does that. If he don't show, you know what I'm saying, no real stand, then, you know what I'm saying, then they'll wind up, he'll wind up being a boy.
If you go against, maybe what your man wants or however, then that's whenever you broke the rules. You went against it, and there's always gonna be. It's from the old school. There's severe consequences for that.
Prisons in the South, a white guy pretty much has it hard, you know. He'll be tested much quicker than a black inmate, you know.
There was this guy who was here before. He was a blood, and in Alabama, and they don't believe in a white guy being a blood.
I had feelings for him, lust, even at the time that he was still claiming to be a blood. But by us acknowledging him as a blood, you know, I pushed that lust to the side. I felt like, well, hell, he had to show some type of heart. I put it like that. He had to been improve himself. So I accepted him. During this time, it was football season, and every motherfucking prison gonna watch football. So the captain and the lieutenant, they come around to do daily inspections of the whole dorm.
So this guy in particular, he had painted a lot of satanic stuff on the wall inside one of the dorms here.
They go off. I mean, they have a fit. Until we find out who vandalized his room, there'll be no football. Another blood come to me, say, hey man, you know who put that shit in that room? I said, nah, who? So he tells me, he say, blood did it, the little white boy. So I'm like, what? So we stepped down on him. You know what I'm saying? Let him know how it's fucked up because he put all us in a fucked up position to where if someone in the dorm wanted to harm him, then it involves us. I tell him, I say, hey, man, he can't be blood anymore. So I walk him around the prison compound. We talk, and I basically let him know, you know what I'm saying, how I had felt betrayed by what he did, you know what I'm saying? And it was hard for me to deal with, it was hard for me to accept, So basically I just made him feel guilty. I made him feel like he was obligated to me from that point on. He agreed with it. Me and truthfully, I seen that as an opening for me to move in and turn him out. I started to put my plan into making. So I let him know that I want him to be with me. I let him know that I want to have sex with him. I let him know I want to lay with him.
So I came over there to that dorm the next day, been drinking, been smoking some reefer or whatever. And I go to my little brother's cell, or I call him my little brother, Mark. I go to his cell and he telling me, he running the whole story down to me what this person then did. So after he run the whole story down to me, like I had his door, they have cells, I had his door crack and I see him and I call him. I say, hey, I call him up there and he come up there. So when he get up in the cell, I'm really playing. I'm playing at first. Well, I was playing it. Yeah, I was playing. Yeah, I was playing at first. So I asked him. I said, man, you know what you did could have got a lot of people messed up." So he like, "Yeah." I said, "What? What? How were you like that?"
He started crying and begging and pleading. You know what I'm saying? Mark, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be gay. I don't want to. But at this time, you know what I'm saying? I'm out of control. I don't want to hear nothing, no talk.
So my little brother, he jump up and he slapped.
Y'all pay attention.